Hi, here's a quick tutorial on how to prepare your project for a recording session. In this case, we're going to go from a sequence that was done in Logic, and we're going to prepare a Pro Tools session to bring to the recording studio. The first thing I want to do is to make sure that my bar numbers are correct and that my markers are correct. This will need to reflect exactly what you have in the score and in the parts. Then I'm going to export the song structure and the tempo map to a MIDI file. To do so, I'm going to select any MIDI track. I'm going to go to File, select Export, Selection as MIDI file. This will save the track that I selected, which I don't really care, but it's good to have it as a reference, and then the tempo map and my markers. The next step is to export stems for all the tracks that I have in my project. You can choose to either save a single stem for each track or group them in subgroups. I prefer having all the stems as separate tracks. To do so is very simple. I'm going to select the first track. This is the lead vocal. I'm going to solo it. I'm going to make sure that up here in the selection I have my entire song with few bar extra. And I'm going to make sure that the selection starts exactly at bar 1 at the beginning of the project. And then I'm going to bounce it. In this case, I'm going to name it lead stem. I'm going to repeat the same process for all the tracks. Just make sure to listen to the track you are bouncing before bouncing it, so that only the material that you want is going to be included in the stem. After you do the process for each track, you will end up with several audio bounces with the name of the project and the name of the stem. In this case, I have piano, bass, drums, lead, background vocals, acoustic guitar, and electric guitars. The last thing I like to do is also to bounce just the click. This is just for extra precaution. It's always good to have an audio version of your click track that matches your stems. To bounce just the click is pretty simple. I'm going to solo a track that has nothing on it, like this one. I'm going to make sure that the click is on, and then just for safety I'm going to press play and make sure that the click is the only thing I hear. And then I simply select the bounce option and I'm going to call this bounce click. So now in my bounce folder, I have all my stems plus the click track. Now it's time to head to Pro Tools and create a new project. I just launched Pro Tools, and here I just name my new session. Make sure that the session sample rate is at 48 kilohertz, 24-bit, and WAV format. This is important so that we keep consistency among all the sessions. Make sure to know where you save it and click Create. Now I have a new session ready to go. The next step is to import our standard MIDI file that we saved from Logic. So I'm going to go to File, Import, MIDI. Here I can see my standard MIDI file. I'm going to select it and select Open. Again, this is very important. You want to make sure that you import the tempo map from MIDI file, and if you want, also the key signature. The tempo map is very important. New tracks can be imported to MIDI tracks. Click OK. And you're going to see here your session with all the markers and the correct tempo. These MIDI tracks, you don't really need them, so you can just delete them if you want, or you can keep them, but we're not going to use them for playback. Then we're going to create a click track. So I'm going to go to Track, Create Click Track. This is the internal click that Pro Tools will generate. Once the click track is set up, now it's time to import our stems. The safest way to import your stems is to go to File, select Import, and select Audio. Select all the stems that you want to import, and make sure to select Copy All. This is very important because you want to have these files copied to your session folder. When you're ready, click Open. Select the location where the files will be copied. It has to be the audio files folder of your Pro Tools project. Automatically, you will be pointed to that location. You want to move all the files to New Tracks, and it's very important that you choose the location to be the session start. Now we have all our stems lined up with the beginning of the session, with the markers, and with the click. Just to double check, press play.
I shouldn't walk away or try again.
And you are all set. At this point, it's important that you order the track in a musical way that makes sense. And also, you might want to rename the track in a way that makes sense. So this is going to be my click. This is my acoustic guitar stems. Background vocals. Bass. Drums. Electric guitar. Lead vocal. And piano. It will be easier to identify them by looking at the track name. Make sure that in the mix window you create a balanced mix, and once everything is set, make sure to save the session, and again double check that in your session folder all your audio files are there, are copied. Your session is there, and you're ready to go. At this point, just have fun at the recording session because you are ready.